today to record another live tarot reading for you guys. I was really inspired recently, and this is something that I just wanted to pop on here today. I wasn't sure if I was going to have the light today to do, yeah, I decided to come back and do a live reading. You know, it's very interesting how things kind of like unfold naturally. And I wanted to point out to everybody that the spring equinox, which is when the sun enters Aries, is coming up on March 20th. So for me, I saw this incredible YouTube video that and song performance by Brandy Carlisle that she did of her song The Story. And that was like, it to me, like it blew my mind. She recently did that performance just I don't know, like 5 or 6 days ago or something like that. And so to me, like the energy is very fresh, but at the same time very reflective. So it gave me a lot of things to think about, and I wanted to share those with everybody just because well, I think it's going to be helpful for people to kind of refocus and revisit like what's going on with the energy right now, what we're dealing with right now, where we are in time. We are in March 2023, and to give everybody a little bit of perspective. So before I jump in, I do want to go through my usual spiel that I am still offering private readings. If you'd like to book a private reading with me, you can book it through my website, oracledaphne.com. All the links are going to be below if you want to donate. The fastest way to book a reading with me is to send a payment through PayPal. But I would accept payments another way, except if you send it, I think if you send it just through Cash App, then I will have no way of contacting you. So you will have to reach out to me by email in order to get scheduled. And I also just wanted to shout out, I did receive recently 2 donations, and I want to shout out and say thank you to those people that kindly donated. Really appreciate it. The names are a little bit tricky and I did not write them down, so I will be saying thank you to them specifically when I do my next recording. But just want to say thank you. You know who you are. I appreciate the donations so much. And I just want to say, if anybody does want to donate, even if it's $5, $10, it doesn't matter. It still makes a huge difference in my life. Small donations, even those people think that doesn't help, puts gas in my tank, and I'm already out of food benefits for the entire month. So basically, if you send a donation, it's paying for food right now. So, food bank stuff is like challenging. They've already said that they have a limited amount of what they have. So like if I say I ran out of butter, if I ran out of olive oil or things like that, I'm not going to be able to get them at the food bank. So it's just one of those things that I appreciate so much with inflation. Very interesting. I saw a post someone did today on Instagram that talked, a lot of different people from different countries are also experiencing a lot of high inflation. So interesting, put in the comments down below, if you feel comfortable, what country you live in and what the inflation is, like what the situation with inflation is, just to give everybody a perspective. Because I think for whatever reason, like we don't really sometimes see outside of our own limited mind frame or just of what we're doing, and we don't really think like, oh, it's like really, really bad over there and it's really, really bad over there, and a lot of other people are experiencing that as well. So just share if you'd like in the comments. That would be awesome, just to give people an idea of what's really going on in the world. But this video was inspired by Brandy Carlisle and her song The Story, and it made me think back to when Grey's Anatomy first had started coming out and where I was in time and all the things that have happened since then. And I turned 41 this year, and it made me be very reflective. So for those people who are looking for inspiration or looking for something to kind of take away from this video and say, okay, I really need to, think about the energy of this spring of 2023 and kind of rethink my view or my perspective. I wrote down 3 questions which you need to ask yourself at this time. And the first question is, what is it that you need to learn? What is it that you want to or need to do? And what is it that you want to or need to experience? So this is a good time to reflect, because first of all, Brandy Carlisle's song to me has a lot of Aries energy. To me, the Aries is like the electric guitar. It's like the, on full volume, it's all cranked up. And I always think that Aries is a little bit badass, and they are, okay? They're a little bit badass. So, the thing is, we've only got a week and like a half left before the spring equinox. So we need to think of this time as, okay, a reflective time, but also a time to ask questions of, where do you want to go from here? What is it that's going to motivate you? What do you need to change? What do you need to do? It's very interesting. Like, I was just doing my laundry, and I came across like a sweatshirt that had all these kinds of crazy holes in it. And I was like, I really need to let this go. And I was like, goodbye. It's like one of those things, like, you can't, the Pisces energy, okay, the sun is in Pisces at this moment. So, I'm recording this on March 9th, 2023. So because the sun is in sun is in Pisces, we need to think about what is it that we need to kind of lay to rest, or what is it that we want to lay to rest, or what is it that we need to let go of, or what is it that we need to release, or what is it that we want to take with us in this next cycle or next season of our life, because to me it's a new cycle, it's a new season. So it's one of those things, and we're like I said, a week and a half away from that Aries energy, that full volume, all cranked up energy. So I feel like it's a good time to kind of get a little bit amped up to, maybe get some new sneakers, to, start to do a little bit of cleanup work around the house or outside. This is a good time to be reflective, definitely journal, write a lot. Think back to where you were, I want to say 20 years ago. 20 years ago, because 20 years ago, that's when, I don't know exactly when Grey's Anatomy first came out, but to me, that's 20 years ago. Almost. Well, I think 2003, 2004. I'm trying to think of when I watched watched it for the first time. And it might have been a little bit later than that, but it's close. So let's just say, where were you 15 years ago? Where were you 18 years ago? And for those of you who are younger, you who are watching my channel, you might be 20, 21. You might obviously not be thinking so far back in the sense of having to be able to look back and say, okay, I was in school or I was in college. But, you might want to be taking a moment to really think about what you want for this next period of your life, or for this next cycle of your life. I think that this is the time to really think about those things. And like I said, throw things out, release stuff, get rid of stuff. This is also time for people to get their will done, to really think, okay, if in the case of an emergency, I have XYZ bag packed, or I have my will done and everything's together and everything's organized, the thing about the Aries energy, and it's kind of in preparation for the Aries energy is quite, I don't know, like it kind of gets on your nerves a little bit, because you never know really what to expect. To me, the Aries is like, it's kind of like a curveball, or things are kind of unexpected with Aries, I'm not sure like what's going on with my chat. Just a second. Hang on. Okay. This is not the right channel. Sorry about that. So where was I? What was I saying? This is a channel. I just want to say this is a channel for people who are looking for, I want to say, inspiration. You know, that's what I'm really about. I'm looking, I'm looking at things from a unique and different perspective. I really don't care as far as proving myself, and I really don't care about if I'm quote unquote right. Most of the time, things that I have said have come to pass in some way, some form, and it's very accurate. But at the same time, I'd love it if things weren't accurate, because generally when things aren't accurate, it's the biggest learning experience, and it shows how the universe likes to change things up, likes to throw the monkey wrench in, likes to throw in the unexpected. So we can think all we want about and plan all we want. But then one day we'll wake up and make a different decision. So it's like one of those things where, you might think your whole life you want to become, I don't know, like a ballet dancer, and then go and do it. And then suddenly realize, you know what, I don't really want to be doing this anymore. I want to do something else with my life. Or you might fall in love with someone and you decide, you want to have children and you want to move to, I don't know, Alaska. This is just an example, So a lot of things, cool things can happen through unexpected twists and turns, and life decisions and things that you decide, after achieving what you want too. Because Pisces, and I will say, going back to the sun being in Pisces right now, there's a certain level of achievement when the sun is in Pisces. Like, it's a certain level of having been there, done that, having experienced what you want to experience, and made your peace for the things that you didn't do. But the interesting thing is that I always tell people that it's the things you don't do in life that you regret the most, because life goes so fast. So it's the things that you don't do. So I really want to challenge everybody. This whole video is about being inspired, being motivated, using this time. Okay, before the sun goes into Aries, we have a little time where the sun's still in Pisces to be reflective and to look at things and be like, what is it that I really want to do that that I would regret not doing? Okay, if if you got to the end of your life and said, okay, it's kind of like the bucket list. To me, Pisces is the bucket list. This is a time to go through a bucket list and say, what is it that I want to do? But also keep in mind, people can get really wrapped up in extremes. I don't encourage extreme stuff at this time. I really would not encourage extreme spending or any kind of extreme sports. I tell people all the time, things can happen, and I really, cautioning against that. But at the same time, if it's something that, like, if you, say, it's always one of those things, you read about people who get like some kind of crazy diagnosis and they got 6 months to live, and then they have the most beautiful life for those 6 months. Their whole life changes. They decide they're going to go, they're going to get married to a certain person. They're going to finally propose. They're going to go off and go take a cruise, or take a take a trip and travel, maybe go to Europe, do different things. It's like you read about stuff like that. And to me, I think that's an example of the energy of this, of the sun in Pisces. It's like getting that kind of like diagnostic moment that says, you only have so much time to do what you want. How are you going to use your time? How are you going to refocus your time, energy, and money? That's all very Pisces to me. So I am going to leave the link below to Brandy Carlisle's song, The Story. I'm going to put it in the comments. I think I will also add it to the description box, or just put it as like a card so people can click on it once this video is over, or add it to a playlist or something like that. So so you guys can listen to it. But the interesting thing about it is that it really inspired me. because I actually have always wanted to learn guitar. And I've always wanted to learn the cello. I know how to play the piano, but I've always wanted to learn guitar. Guitar is always one of those hard, weird things that I felt like I could never teach myself. And I have a thing for cello. Like I just like the energy of the cello. And I've always wanted to learn to play the cello. So, if you have instrumental, gifts with instruments or gifts with music, this is the time to write music. This is the time to find your inspiration. This is the time to lean into music and lean into, your guitar or your piano, and utilize this creative time, because to me, this is a very creative time. Especially before the sun goes into Aries. Okay, so it's like a week and a half of time. Now, those of you who are maybe watching this later, okay, there's nothing wrong leading into music, especially during times of stress, during times of grief, during times of high anxiety. And I do want to mention this because this is, I have a friend, we were talking. And they were talking about the anxiety, and I was like, well, that's odd, because I was talking on my channel about, my last video was about having people having this sense of urgency or anxiety, and so I was like, this is a time to be very practical. We just had a full moon in Virgo, so you're going to want to make a list of all the things that you want to do. Be very practical. Be very, think about, okay, this is what I need to do today, to help get your mind off of all the things that stress you out, all the things that you don't have, or all the things that you need. Think about and focus on what you can do. Okay. That's one of the key messages for the whole anxiety, thing. I kind of almost want to do like a whole video about anxiety and the anxiety situation, anxiety, depression, because I feel like as we get closer in time to some of the bigger events and things that are going to come to pass, people are naturally going to feel a sense of anxiety. Like even if they don't have, quote unquote, they have never had an anxiety diagnosed, or they've never maybe even felt anxious in their life, I feel like it's going to be more of a collective feeling. And when so certain things that you're going to feel during this time, and part of it, as a collective, if we're gearing up to some very large events, especially if large events contain any kind of situations which may cause grief, or may cause loss, or may cause any kind of pain or suffering or sorrow or strife or stress, then to me, this is it's like that feeling that you get before that happens, and addressing it, and focusing on what you can do, and trying very much to get whatever it is you can get done at this time, focus on those things, and listen to music, and read, and try to quiet the mind from going into places where that anxiety will just kind of go. But I feel like I do want to do like a whole video about, the collective anxiety, and I'm talk about it a little bit more later in time. So today it was really about, inspiring people, motivating people. I mean, ask yourself at this time, what is it that you need to learn? What is it that you want to learn? What is it that you need to do, that you want to do? What's on your list? What's on your bucket list? What's on your day-to-day list? Some people have issue with writing out their goals. Like they see like a list of like going to the store as not a goal. It's just like something on their list. I want to challenge everybody to like take the label off and just write out, what is it that you need to do? What is it that you feel called to do? Like, it can be a goal. It could be something like as easy as like buying sponges at the store so you can clean your countertop, but it can be as far reaching as maybe something that you need to do is like travel, maybe someplace that's going to, I don't know, bring you some happiness or bring you some joy. So say you've always wanted to go, like one of the things that I've wanted to do is go to Sedona, and check out like the gem and crystal like mineral shows that they have. Like to me, they're crazy cool, and I've always wanted to do that. So it's like, you know, it could be as far reaching as something like that, or something that you feel like you need to do. For me, I also want to travel and visit the redwood forests. Um, so it's just one of those things, like, you know, that's on on a to-do list. Put that on your to-do list, write it down, even if you think, oh, it'll never happen. Oh, you know. And the funniest thing about when we get to Pisces, Pisces is the believer that pretty much anything is possible. Okay? Pisces believes that. Um Pisces is the one that says never say never, because most likely it could happen. Okay. Pisces is the person that does not have boundaries, that has a limitless creative, basically connection. It's like a straight connection to source, which is an endless flow of creativity. So, that's where we're at in time right now. Is, you know, again, it's March 8th. I'm sorry, March 9th, that I'm recording this. So it's all very timely. It's all very present moment stuff. I wanted to record this because I was like, you know, with my other video, in some way I was talking a lot about future events, but to me this is very, like, I wanted to do a video that kind of balanced it with the present day, present moment energy of where we are in time. Okay, so I want to lay out a spread for just to see what energies kind of come up for basically for any, you know, for everybody who's watching, any messages that come up of like what you need to do at this time, or not what you need to do, like, but it's more like what might inspire you at this time, what you need to do to inspire you. And in general, just like what messages come through, like what I see. So I'm just going to see what cards come up. To me, we have this Ten of Wands, which is really interesting. And the Ten of Wands to me is, you know, can indicate carrying a heavy load of burdens, feeling like you don't have what you need, or feeling like you have a lot of responsibility, a lot of things on your plate. You know, I think, you know, just from talking to people recently, I feel like everybody's very much maxed out in some way or other. And I do feel like that's a what's it called? A result. To me, it's a direct result of the pandemic. I feel like, you know, the pandemic pushed people past their comfort zone, out of their comfort zone. Many people, not everyone, but everybody was affected by it in some way. So it's kind of like the aftermath, you know, of, it's sort of like my guides are like, well, what did you expect? You know what I mean? What did you expect? People, of course, were going to have some level of, and I talked about this in my old video that I did a long time ago, you know, when I talked about what I saw for the future of, and I'm going to leave that link to the video, to that video below, just so people can see it. I was living in Omaha at the time that I recorded that, just to see what I had, what I said, you know, to go back in time. But so yeah, to me, this is the aftermath. You know, the Ten of Wands typically is a card I see about maintenance. I see as like what people need to do. It's more of maintenance. It's more of taking care of things. You know, to me, this is like getting an oil change, or you know, going to the doctor, or taking care of your health, fixing something up, managing things. You could have multiple properties, or this could be just trying to fix things around your apartment or your home. This is interesting. I never noticed this before. there's almost like no way to really describe this. I never saw this. I feel like, okay, so like in this image, you can see one of her arms is here, but then I actually think that it's like almost like this is her arm. Like she's become this tree. At first I almost had this feeling of like she was longing to like be released in some way, and in some cases considering, and again we have the sun in Pisces, and for some people having like thoughts about death, of their own death. But to me it's more of she's become this tree, and she's become this person that's taken on all this stuff, like all these responsibilities, and she's carrying it all herself. And I say she because to me this card to me, this has always been a female person. This can indicate like a female breadwinner. This can indicate like any person that's watching that's female, a single person. This can indicate a person who you could be watching this and just have carried a heavy load of responsibilities, or things that could be bills. For the general like everyday person, to me this is bills. So for some of you this is like needing to consolidate, and it's interesting because my guide is showing me like a long time ago I had more credit cards. And at the time nobody had told me like how it really works. So I was concerned about the credit cards and stuff like that. And so, but one after the other, I was like, I'm just going to let all this go. And the interesting part is that as I started to let go, because I was trying to carry the load so much myself, I started to feel more free. I started to feel lighter. So for some of you, this is letting go of something. Like it could be credit cards. It could be something as simple as, say, like if you watch cable and you're always paying a certain amount per month, letting go of the cable, saying, you know what, we're going to cut our cable. Letting go of something that, maybe you're not using, like the internet or something like that. Maybe it's, if you've always had, for people that have always had like a landline, maybe finally saying, okay, I'm not going to have this landline anymore, or something like that, or, I don't know, like consolidating in some way. To me, it's a need to let go, a need to consolidate what you got. Because whatever it is that your responsibilities that you're carrying, it's just too much. I see this as, for some, like an emotional breakdown. And I see like things kind of like wearing out or falling apart. And it's very interesting because, like I said, just before I started recording, I was doing my laundry, and there's a guy in there who's fixing like all the machines because they're all jammed and like nobody can get anything to work. And so there's like an actual like a Mr. Fix-It who's like right over there fixing things. So you may be just kind of like going through things that are no longer what you want, consolidating what you've got, thinking about, okay, where can we cut here, or where can we cut there, cutting back in some way. That to me is sort of like what you need to do. The thing that's going to inspire you the most, and I'm just going to say this for some people, is some kind of like, I want to say treat. Sometimes it's necessary to treat ourselves, okay? To give ourselves the freedom to go do something, to go spend maybe something that's not on our bills, that's not on, something that we have to do for our family, our kids. It's not about paying rent, and it's not about paying bills. It's just something that you want to do, like a treat for yourself. And I'm getting confirmation of that. So like, to me, the thing that's going to inspire you is actually letting go of something that is you're tied to, that you would see as responsibility, and doing something and trading that, maybe if just for one day. Like, and it's interesting because sometimes, especially like those of us who get into like modes of working a lot, you know, when I worked in healthcare, I was working for like 50 hours a week, and I didn't stop, and I had one day off, and it wasn't really enough. And the thing that I needed was just to have like a treat here and there. I think I had $25 left over at the end of every month, maybe less, to actually do something that was fun, or that was nice for myself, or that, you know. So sometimes, you know, I'd go and watch a movie, very rarely, you know, or sometimes I'd go and I'd get this. I remember this is like before the pandemic. I got this like jerk chicken sandwich from this awesome restaurant. And I think it was like $13 in total for that jerk chicken sandwich. But it was the best. It was awesome. I loved it. Like, every single time I had it, I always felt kind of just better about life. So some of you do need to feel better about life, but you also need to do something that's going to treat yourself, and look at your life like realistically, in the sense that, okay, like these like whatever bills, that anything that you don't need at this time, you need to let go of. That's what I want to say. Okay, let me look at the other cards and see what else is coming through. It's interesting because some of you are longing for transformation, which is interesting. This is coming from the outside. This is the Phoenix energy. If you want to manifest, you should think about manifesting through the 444 portal. That's what I want to say. Those of you who do any kind of manifesting, manifest through the 444 portal. For those of you who, I feel like there's some kind of transformation that's going to be happening within partnerships that have had specifically cheating, okay? Or specifically problems with trust. It's interesting. I don't think I've ever seen this here, but like, or things that are toxic. Because the holly, there's these like little holly, it's like holly branches here. And there's holly berries. And I think holly berries are toxic. I'm pretty sure holly berries are toxic. So I would tell you to, I would say expect changes within a partnership if there's any toxicity within partnerships. And some of you are longing for it. You're wanting it. You're wanting a transformation. You're wanting a change within partnerships that are no longer healthy. It's interesting. I've never seen this before either. You know, if we look at this branch, okay, if we look at this branch, this tree here, you know, it looks kind of dead, right? It looks pretty dead. But then there's this one branch over here that has these buds on it. And to me, that's the spring energy. That's the new growth. I'm like hearing something that was written from one of my rune, like the rune book that I have, that talks about how it says something about everyone truly indeed grows, or something like that. Everybody inevitably grows. Like, we all are growing, we're expanding. So if those of you have like, this is going to sound strange, but like maybe been thinking like you're stuck, or feeling like you're not growing, or you're not expanding, or you're not moving forward, I feel like there's going to be opportunity to have growth and expansion, or like there's going to be opportunity to experience something new, experience something that you haven't experienced before. And I would tell everybody, going back to that question of what is it that you need to do, everybody needs to try something new. Like, going back to what I said about, I never learned to play the guitar. You know, I tried, but it's challenging for me, and I don't know why, you know, because I can play two instruments. Why can't I play the guitar, you know? So, and I've never learned how to play the cello, and it's like, you know, there's different things to try, and it's interesting. I remember, I think it was, I don't know if it was during the pandemic or just the beginning, I went to this little cafe. in Papillion, Nebraska. And they had, it was actually, what's it called? A chocolate shop that had all these Italian gelato flavors that I had never tried before. And they made me, it was like, I don't know if it was a mocha, I think it was a mocha latte with their own chocolate sauce. And then I tried a couple of different flavors of their gelato. And I honestly felt like, where has this been my whole life? Like, why haven't I tried this before? You know, like, like, you know what I mean? Like, my whole day was, my whole perspective was transformed by me experiencing that. I mean, like, I need to come here like every single day, you know? And I don't know, it was this little shop in Papillion, Nebraska. So, you know, it's like one of those things. If there's like any stores by you that you haven't gone into, any little coffee shops or bakeries or, you know, little places that you could go that are maybe, you know, different in some way, things that would inspire you to try new things. And you know what, honestly, it just helps our brain to try new things. It helps our brain to learn new languages. It helps our brain to stay, you know, stay sharp. It's something, you know, the whole thing about the Pisces energy right now is people can get really foggy. People can get really disoriented and lost and feel like, and it's weird because I've noticed for myself that the more I spend time on my cell phone, the more I feel like I lose my memory. My memory, like memories need work, like our brains need work. So I would encourage people to kind of maybe start taking ginkgo or start taking stuff for memory specifically. I think omegas are also good, like fish oils and stuff like that. I would really stock up on that stuff like right now, because I feel like that's going to help people in the future, no matter what age you are. Obviously, this is just a suggestion. I can't really tell you to go do it, but I would definitely suggest anything that you can do to kind of try something new, try something different, learn something, you know. This is the time for it. And some people go, well, you know, I've always wanted to go to school for XYZ and I don't have the money for it and blah, blah, blah. This is not a time to have any kind of excuses of why you don't want to do something. This is the time to say, what can I do? What can I do that's going to be different? And again, you know, we have resistance. We have resistances of why we don't do things. And this is a time to let go of those resistances. And sometimes it's important just to say out loud, I let go of all resistances to learning the cello, or I let go of all resistances to finding a new job, or let go of all resistances to trying new things. Whatever it is that you make an excuse for, say, you know what, I'm letting go of the resistance to that. Because what's that saying? That saying is like, what you're wanting wants you to. So it's like, if you're resistant to something, that's like telling, like, let's just say there was a great person out there for you. Let's just use this as an example because everybody gets relationships. So say there was a really good match for you. Say you're a single person and you haven't found your match. But like, say you were resistant to dating. If you're resistant to dating, then it's like you're saying no to your future Mr. or Mrs. Right. That's it. Because, you know, and it's interesting I'm saying this because the things that we want to attract often are attracted to us. Naturally, we have this King of Swords, and the King of Swords is fate. In my experience, that's what this card is talking about. The card can also talk about a deceased loved one being around in spirit. It's interesting. I was talking about earlier about a diagnosis. Medical. This also is a card about medical care and getting a diagnosis or things like that. So for some of you, those of you who may be older or, you know, maybe in contact with a family member, this could be some kind of diagnosis. I don't feel like this is for a younger person. I just don't. it feels more of like, to me, a family member. I feel like there's an energy of a swiftness though with this. So like I feel like you're going to hear from, maybe you're hearing from one swiftly, swift news. That's what I want to say. So we have the Knight of Wands here, and the Knight of Wands is a fire sign male. And news is coming through him swiftly. So this could be, I don't know, say like, let's just say like you have someone, you know, I want to say between the ages of, say, I don't know, 18 and 45. Okay. That to me is like the Knight of Wands. Maybe information hearing from this person or coming through this person. The Knight of Wands can also be kind of like a Joan of Arc. So I want to say it could also be female for some people, maybe like a masculine female. A message or something coming through someone who between, again, the ages of like say 18 and 45. We also have the Page of Swords, which is being lifted up out of hardship. The interesting thing about the Page of Swords coming in like this, you know, if we're talking about like what you need to do, to me, it's about nurturing yourself. It's about working on like your inner child stuff, working on speaking your truth, learning to show up in an authentic way, being a real authentic person. You know, this is about learning to help others and others learning, you know, and allowing others to help you. So again, letting go of resistances. So like if you have an issue accepting or receiving help from other people, or if like, you know, you're resistant to actually like maybe donating something, or like donating your time or donating your energy just to a cause, it doesn't have to, you know, whatever it is, this is a time to do that. I've said before in my other videos, you know, pick a fundraiser. You know, this is a time. The thing that I don't like about the Saturn and Pisces energy is I do feel that charitable organizations will have a problem. To me, Pisces is charity. Pisces is the elderly person that donates their things to a museum, that donates their things to such and such. Pisces is that person that goes out of their way to like bring somebody like a basket or, you know, a bag of groceries, you know, just for the hell of it. You know, Pisces can be very charitable in the sense that there's a lot of sacrifice when it goes into what they do for other people. You know, they do a lot for other people and the collective and humanity. And so this is, you know, with Saturn and Pisces, I don't like that energy because Saturn to me is restrictive. Saturn to me is like saying, I don't know, there's problems with charitable things, problems with maybe you know, starting a fundraiser and not really getting anything. You know, it's interesting, you know, where people are at really with it at this time. You could be in the boat where, you know, you're needing, you know, maybe you're starting to crowdfund, or you're starting, are you wanting to do like a fundraiser or something like that. And this is like a tough time. I feel like this is a tough time for it, you know? So what you need to do is, I want to say is you need to ask for help. Do it anyways, you know, ask for help anyways. If you want to start something, say you want to start a new business, or say you want to take a trip somewhere and you don't have it, you know, again, this is asking for help. Ask for help anyways, even if you think somebody's not going to be able to help you, because the thing is a lot of times help comes through in surprising ways. The thing that I would avoid doing, and this is interesting, this came up, I felt this just a minute ago, actually, with the Fate card, with the King of Swords card again. The thing I would avoid doing is avoid any kind of indecision. I would avoid any kind of hemming and hawing. I would avoid any kind of hesitation. Although with Pisces, you do need to go back and you need to look at the fine print and you make sure that you are, you know, you've got the correct address and you're sending things to the correct place, and that you're not just going to go be like, okay, I need you to kind of hang on to this, chunk of change for me kind of thing, and blind trust or blind, any kind of blind faith or blind trust. This is, I would not encourage anybody at this time, mainly because even though the sun's in Pisces, we still have Saturn in Pisces. Saturn just went into Pisces, so I really would not encourage that at this time. Blind, like high risk things, blind faith, blind trust, all that stuff needs to go and be avoided at this time. The other thing too is I've talked to many Pisces, okay, and they are great people. But the thing is they come to these strange conclusions about how they're going to wait. To me, like, the Pisces is the original person who waits, who says, I'm just going to wait and see what the universe does. Or I'm just going to wait and see what happens. Or I'm just going to wait and see how things turn out. I'm going to wait and see. Taurus is really good at this too, I have to say. Taurus is like, I'm going to stand back and let the other person jump off the cliff first and watch to see if they make it. And then if they make it, then I'll go. Okay. So that to me can be the Taurus, because Taurus can stay like very much like it's in their spot and watch and wait and figure things out and get the lay of the land first. I think Taurus would make like a good land surveyor. Or like housing, what's it called? Housing estimator, or what's it called? I don't know what that word is. Approximator or something. Appraisal. Like, Taurus would be good at that. But yeah, like Pisces can really try to sit things out, or sit things out because they don't feel like engaging in something emotionally. But this is not the time to be sitting on the bench in life. That song, and for those people who actually listen to the song that that really inspired me recently, I feel it's a song of higher energy. It's a song about, to me, it's like about getting up and going and creating the story of your life. It's about getting up and going and saying, I'm going to make my life what I want to make it, come hell or high water. I've decided I want to go over here and do X, Y, Z, and nothing is going to stop me. And making something of your life. Because like looking back again to this last period of say 20 years, could even be 15 years, and thinking about the things that you did not do, maybe things that you want to do that you haven't done. This is the time for that. The time for maybe sitting on the bench, I feel like has really passed, because I feel like time is going to speed up. So like the next 20-year cycle, let's just say 20-year cycle, things are going to go much, much, much faster. It's going to be very hard to keep up. There's not going to be so much like wiggle room for taking an unexpected trip somewhere, or moving on a whim, or throwing everything in your car, throwing everything in your truck and going, there's a lot of this energy about, or focus on, because of certain things, like say because of inflation, or because of political climate, things like that. People are going to say, well, I can't do that now. The thing is that it's interesting. There's another psychic who said a long time ago, those of you who wanted to go, I forget, what she said exactly, but she's like, if you want to go travel specifically to Hawaii, if you want to go to Hawaii, now is the time to go. Or if you want to go to, like, say, a tropical place, or say you wanted to take a little vacation someplace, to an island somewhere, this is the time to go. This is not a time to sit on the bench and be like, I'm just going to wait and watch and see what other people do. The thing about the Pluto going into the sign of Aquarius, it is going to be very, almost like very challenging to do anything that the crowd doesn't do. So like, let's just say you wanted to go off on your own and do something by yourself. It's going to cost you a lot of money to do it. It might be actually kind of dangerous for you to do it. And you might actually spend a lot of time more by yourself than any other time in your life. But being independent or thinking about being independent in some way. That word independence obviously is going to be huge um, because like of what I said when I talked about Pluto and Aquarius and things like that. So I just think that now would be the time to really consider what is it that you want to do and how you're going to move forward in time with your goals, your wishes, your dreams, your plans, your life. And I would not take a page from the old Pisces book, which is about waiting and hoping and wishing and dreaming and thinking about the past and thinking about what they didn't do and thinking about with regret or with longing. The Pisces is the person that does not call you, even though they miss you terribly. Or the Pisces is the person that does not, send you a letter because, for whatever reason, they got the address wrong, and you never got it. Or they just don't bother to write it. They think about writing it for a long time. And I will tell you, the Pisces energy, especially we have the Sun in Pisces right now, is very much like heavily about a lot of time passing and not realizing how much time is passing. For those of you who have ever tried to receive anything from a Pisces that said they were to send it to you, you might receive it a year later. You might receive it like 2 years later. They live in it's like the land before time, okay? Or the time before time, or they live in the twilight zone. Essentially, it's a different form of time altogether. And so time passing, I feel like it's very important for people not to be on the bench at this time or not to sit things out. The only thing that I would tell you going into Aries season, we've got a week and a half left of the Pisces sun energy, but like say going into Aries season, I would say I would avoid big crowds at this time. I would avoid any kind of things that could be remotely dangerous or put targets on your backs, because with Pluto and Aquarius, Pluto's going to go into Aquarius on the 23rd here, which is, again, it's like 2 weeks away exactly. That is going to make it where the shadow of Aquarius is the Leo energy. And the Leo energy always has a target on their back. They are different. They are unique. They are usually larger than life. It's very hard to ignore a Leo. If a Leo walks in, you know that they're there. They have a presence, they have larger energy. Sometimes they're physically like some of the, there's a couple of celebrities that they have beautiful features. They're taller, they're larger. They have a difficult time kind of not fitting in. I don't want to say the word fit in because they can go places and not, cause any kind of disturbance. But more often than not, they stand out in the crowd. Okay, they stand out. Eventually, they might stand out, and the crowd might be their family. They might be very different from their family, or they might have a really unique family dynamic, something different than normal. So I really would not go out on a limb, which is interesting because we have that. This is rebirth, that little new growth, that little limb there. Tree limb. I would not go out on a limb too far with this energy. And yeah, focus on fixing things up. Focus on taking care of things that might be older or might be broken or might be things that you need to do. Just basic tasks. The interesting thing about the Pisces, we have that Virgo shadow, and the Virgo full moon just happened. So that Virgo energy is very strong still, and that Virgo energy is about and like Virgo actually. And I was going to do this. This is kind of like the Virgo full moon, reading that I wanted to do. The Virgo moon, to me, is the moon where you can actually get a million things done, more accomplished than any other sign. I feel like typically Virgos do have a lot on their plate, and they can handle more than most, and they take a lot on. So with a Virgo full moon, that we just had, and we have this Pisces energy. I feel like taking care of things, trying to do things and get a lot done at this time is actually very timely and very necessary. It's sort of like, fixing something up and then planning a trip after you fix that thing up, getting ready or planning for a trip of some kind, something like that. Okay, I want to see if there's any other. I want to check my chat. Didn't see any other messages. Okay, so I want to pull some last cards. Oh, this is a good time to do any kind of cord cutting, any kind of spiritual releasing, whether you do it yourself or whether you do it with me or whether you do, somebody else. It's interesting because I feel like cord cutting was kind of something that I was seeing a lot of other, spiritual people, do. And I was offering it as a service, but the thing was, it was a very long amount of time to communicate all of the information I feel like necessary in order for people to really be ready. So the way I do it now is I would, if you wanted to do any kind of that kind of work, I would do a regular reading, 45-minute reading, to kind of assess where you are at, and see what needs to be released and if you're really ready to let things go. The interesting thing is sometimes, and it's interesting this is coming up now, sometimes we have a hard time letting things go, because our heart doesn't want to let it go, or because our head, thinks of somebody or thinks of something, and it's hard to let things go. But the thing about it too is that trick a little bit of the ego that says, you've got to acquire all of this stuff. You've got to hang on to this stuff. Things in life, things that you have, you've got to hang on to this kitchen table, and you've got to, hang on to all the relationships you've got, and you've got to hang on to, your money and all that stuff. But the thing is, you can't take anything with you when you die. And that's the Pisces realization. The Pisces is here to learn really what's truly important, to value that experience, to value what they can give to other people, what they have to offer to the world, what they are here to learn and experience and do. So this whole reading in some way has to do with people, you, me, everybody else, learning that we cannot take whatever it is that we're hanging on to in this life with us. And it is not necessary to hang on to every single relationship. It's not necessary to hang on to exes out of fear that you're never going to meet somebody else. It's not necessary to hang on to all of our possessions, that especially things that are worn out, that are no longer working or serving us, it's no longer necessary to hold on to our money in a way that's we don't have enough, and it's also, just something that everybody needs to learn about letting go, the final letting go. To me, the final letting go is the Pisces, is that energy about saying, okay, we are at the final moment here. What is it? How are things going to get distributed in life? And what would I have let go of sooner had I realized that I was deeply, deeply in my ego and thought that I had to hang on to everything until I died? Because to me, that Virgo shadow of material, of, food and clothing and money and cars and houses and the new things. And I know Virgos, it's very interesting. I know Virgos who have been very, very poor, homeless people. And I know Virgos who are very, very material, wealthy successful, people that have, cars, houses, properties. So it really runs the full range. I don't put anybody into any box, but what I'm trying to say here is that that Virgo Pisces, both Virgo and the Pisces have to learn that ego very much more than any other sign, that ego trip of holding on to things so much their entire life. I would say Scorpio also, but Scorpio in my mind never really lets go, because Scorpio is given the opportunity to transform it instead. So they don't have to let it go, because they'll get it back. Only they're going to get it back in a transformed way. So it's more of like a trade. To me, Scorpio is kind of like a trade. It's like, I will let this go, but if I get it back in a different form. So it's not really letting go entirely. It's just more of transformation. And I mean, yes, to me, Scorpio is death, but I feel like the Pisces is more, in some way, more about like that part of your life where you are about to die and you have to decide what is it that you're going to take with you. And the only thing that you're going to take with you is your experience here. That's all. You're going to take your soul. You're going to take your experience. You're going to take how you learned the guitar and the experience with learning to play the guitar, and maybe the cute guy who taught you to teach the guitar, and maybe the cute guy that you fell in love with and you had kids with, and things like that. To me, it's all experiential. It's not about what can you take with you when you die, because you don't have a bank account in heaven. I tell you that right now. You just don't get a bank account in heaven. So it's about really assessing, okay, how far can you really go with your material focus and your material life, and really saying, okay, what is important. And I will tell you, I have met some very, very wealthy Pisces people, very, very wealthy Pisces people, but I've also met some very, very poor Pisces people that have given everything away. They don't have anything left because they've given it all away. But in some way, the Pisces is usually very regenerative in that way, because they've learned through that Scorpio experience previously that they're about to go through a transformation, and that everything that you give comes back to you in some way. So it's not necessary to hang on to everything so much. So that's what's coming through this card here. And then we have this card, which really talks about dreams and dreaming and sleep and relaxing. And it goes back to like that nerve, like, that kind of like nerve-wracking thing where people's nerves are kind of fried after going through like a tough time or tough experience. It's like they don't want to, they can't really handle anymore. Their nerves are fried. Some of you may need to do some listen to some relaxation or do some meditation where you're listening to ambience music, water music, ocean stuff. It's interesting. I was thinking about this too. I think it was in I saw a clip, and it was the most beautiful clip about coming to terms with passing away that I've ever seen, and I'm going to see if I can find it. I couldn't find it, and it was in that show. I think it was, I don't know if it was 1881 or if it was Yellowstone, but it was one of that part where he's talking to this girl who she lost, her person, and he's talking about wanting to go to the ocean. So some of you, there's a dream of wanting to go to the ocean, or there's a dream of wanting to go someplace where there's water. Maybe it's wanting to have a swimming pool, or maybe there's a dream of to me it's something like that, or a dream of wanting to have a house on a lake or something, or be by the ocean. To me, there's the thing that's going to be the most healing is going to the ocean, for some of you. And for others, the dream, whatever your dream is, maybe it has to do with water in some way, doing something with that dream. Anything to do with waterfalls, or there's some really cool I don't know, it's like koshi bells that I listen to. Also that are very like relaxing. So things that are going to help relax your nerves at this time, like lavender. Those of you, you can get lavender buds, and make lavender tea before you go to bed. Anything that's going to relax you before bed, I feel like that's key. That's going to help your nerves specifically, and I think that lavender really specifically helps your nerves. So that's what I'm seeing here. Let me see. Gotta check my chat. Oh, I'm at an hour. I think the last thing that I want to, that there's one last card that's coming out that to me talks about in a little bit, going through a period of time in your life where there's many obstacles. And you're trying to navigate through those obstacles. And it's like you get through one, one obstacle, and then you have another obstacle to go through. And so you might feel kind of like, I don't know, like a gerbil on a wheel, or like you're in some kind of little trap, like a mouse trap or something like that. Or you're kind of, you don't really know, how you're going to get through this time. And all I can tell you is that, I mean, it is going to be different for everyone. All I can tell you is that at this time, you need to ask yourself, what is it that you want to experience? And start really working towards that. Because if you're having an experience that you don't want, then you need to take steps to having an experience that you do want. Rather than, again, we are in Pisces season right now. I'm going to just say this, sitting back and waiting for things to change. Because that's like, you're not playing the game. You're not in the game. You're not, or I don't know how to say that. You're not manifesting what you want. You're waiting for the universe to bring you what you want. And by way of going through this like mousetrap, maybe thinking that you're going to get to what you want. I feel like there's a lot of complicated, like maybe confusion. I feel like this is a very complicating card, and I would tell you it's going to be different for everybody, but for some of you, you're stuck in your head. You are stuck in your head about what to do, about how to do it, and you're overthinking, and you're not taking any action steps to making any changes. And because of what these other cards show, to me, it shows me that the changes are necessary. The perspective shift is necessary. Doing something different, learning something new, it's all necessary. Part of the hard part about growing up is accepting what you need, accepting your role as an adult, accepting the fact that what has come before you, age-wise, like my grandparents have passed. My dad has passed. What has come before me has passed. So I have to step into the role of, I am the elder now. I have to learn from the past. So some of you need to learn from past. You need to look at the history and say, okay, where am I in time? How old am I? What am I doing in my life? And how am I going to be thinking about my role in life? Because we can't stay children forever. Even if you're 18 and watching this video, eventually you're going to grow out of the role of being the student. You're going to grow out of that role, and you may get into the role of becoming wife or partner or mother, or you might grow out of that and get into the role of being a grandmother, a confidant, a friend. You might grow out of that and be just the wise old sage. It depends on everybody. that's watching, and I say this is the female example, but obviously it's the same thing for males that are in this boat. I feel like for many people, this is embracing your role wherever you are, but in some way, even if you're 18 years old, there's a certain level of responsibility that we are all needing to face at this time. It's a certain level of responsibility and maturity that is being in some way forced upon us, whether we are in that space in our life. So I said this before, and I'll say this again, that all the millennials now are going to become the new Depression era generation, meaning the responsibility of like what their grandparents had to go through with World War II, they're going to have to take on with this next cycle. It's a lot of responsibility. It's a lot of work. It's not as fun as, say, 20 years ago when people could still kind of just go out and just blow whatever money they had. I feel like things have changed since then, and I think we need to adapt with those changes and say, okay, like we have to take on this new role, and we have to learn and grow from our life and from history. So I do want to leave this here. I know it's leaving off on an interesting note, but I've got to get going, go check my laundry, and I've been reading for over an hour. Please donate if you can, even if it's just $10. It means so much to me. Please book readings. I love to read for people. So, if you want, even if you want to just do a charm reading, those are only $44.44. But yeah, all the prices are on my website, and I wish everybody well. Be well and have a really good day, and I send everyone big hugs, big kisses, and I'll talk to you guys again soon. All right, take care. All the best. Bye.